Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to a new kind of surprise video on my airbrush compressor situation. Um, After I uploaded my kind of initial thoughts or my final thoughts and opinions about this airbrush compressor, I went ahead and moved my traditional airbrush compressor to another area in the house and drew a long hose from that spot to my hobby room. And the situation definitely improved. Nobody's waking up in the middle of the night. You can barely hear it when I'm working on something. So that situation kind of resolved itself. The air compressor still definitely performs like it should. So the long hose does not impact my airbrushing whatsoever. So that is good. But after I kind of reviewed this product, I sent a mail to the seller saying that it wasn't performing as it should. Kind of asking them, hey, is that like a known kind of issue? And then they kind of responded back to me saying that um, the older models did indeed have issues, that they since then they kind of moved on to newer kind of versions, newer models or newer products. um, and they were kind of impressed by my whole video situation, that they free of charge sent me a different model, a second cordless airbrush compressor. And this was actually the product or the model that I was looking for, in case my other solutions didn't work. It is the model with the removable battery. So this was very, when you have two batteries, it's very convenient because it means that you can just keep on airbrushing and never run out of charge, basically. Um, so, after I received it, it came with an airbrush. It was a complete package. It came with a cleaning kit. What else was there? I think a nozzle cleaner and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a complete package, but I tried it out and it worked amazing. It blew away my expectations, honestly. After trying this is a game changer. This is an absolute game changer. When you are in a situation like me, when you're in a small space, you have rooms next to my hobby room, and people are sleeping, and you're painting in the middle of the evening or in the middle of the night, in my case, or late in the evening, I should say. Um, this is a game changer. This performed so well, um, that I was able to kind of get amazing results when I tried it onto, test pieces and stuff like that. So after this initial kind of part of the video, I will attach a second part where you will see me paint a model or a test piece and kind of show you the performance that this compressor will give you. But so far, initial thoughts, absolutely 100% improvement on this model. This is absolute trash in comparison. This performed so well. It's got steady flow of air. It's got enough psi, and there's a difference between psi and being able to consistently provide that sort of air pressure, and this performs extremely well. Um, the airbrush compressor came with a hose, but it did not come with a quick release, so I I had to add that separately because all of my airbrushes have quick releases on them. The airbrush performs fairly well. It definitely performs better than this one that came with the other airbrush compressor. But this performs fairly well. It's not the best quality, let's be honest. It is a little bit heavier than the previous cheap one that we got. And you know, with the basic misting on of paint, it does base coating. It does it very well. The needle, the trigger control works very well. I am constantly using it to kind of adjust my spray, and it works very well. But when I hooked this up to my Unmo 0.2 needle, having access to the airflow regulator, it blew my mind. I was able to put down pencil thin, sharp lines with this. I was working on like a test piece for a model that I'm working on, and it required me to add really thin lines and layers, and using my expensive airbrush on this piece of equipment was mind-blowing, game-changing. I am definitely, I'm not over exaggerating how well this performed. So I guess my previous statement from the previous video that stated that the more expensive your airbrush, the better like this piece of equipment performs, still holds true. So I was just absolutely surprised. I was not expecting a different kind of result from my previous one. I am going to try and get a second battery. Even if I have to pay for one, that is completely fine. The equipment worked so well that if I can get a second battery for this, it means when I run out of power, I unplug it basically. I will charge this one, put in the charged one, keep going. By the time that the second battery runs out again, this will be fully charged. And the amazing part is that it's got an indicator. There we go. Of how well it's charged, basically. When it's running out of power, you will get like a blinking light that says it's at 25% or lower, and it will start blinking, so that you know that, oh, it's about to run out, or I still have like 10 minutes left. Let's make sure my other battery is ready for use. Just amazing. I just cannot stress this enough. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. As you can see from photos, it looks much bigger. But if you look at how big it is, my airbrush is bigger or longer than the actual piece of equipment. It's such a very, very well constructed piece of equipment. It's small. It's super silent. So it just fixes all of that noise issue if you have it. It's kind of funny that you solve a problem by moving the traditional airbrush compressor to another location in the house, and you kind of fix the issue, and then you get sent a piece of equipment that would have solved the issue as well. So now I'm kind of stuck with this piece of equipment, but I basically use it. Um, Even when for example, when the kids are playing downstairs, my current traditional airbrush compressor, I put it downstairs when the kids are playing, or we have people over. My wife has people over, or the kids are people over, and if I'm upstairs airbrushing, I can understand that situation might be a little inconvenient for them, because if you're downstairs, you can definitely hear it. It's not very loud, it's not super annoying, but you can hear it. And when it kicks on, you're like, oh, hey, something turned on, right? So in that kind of situation, I can understand, like, hey, maybe I'm just gonna use the silent one, or the cordless one, and not bother the people downstairs. And when it's later at night, I can use the traditional airbrush compressor, no problem. But so there are all types of situations where you're going to one of those competitions. Those live competitions where you get like 2 hours of work time to paint something. You could take this with you, use it. When you're going to a convention, and you're spending 3 days at a hotel, take it with you, right? You can, on the spot, you can do some painting. You can be active in the hobby. I always notice that when I go on vacation, because all of my stuff is here, my YouTubing, all of my internet stuff, my social media is all here. My hobby stuff is all here. My collection is all here. So when I go on vacation, all of that is still here, and I can't take it with me. This allows you to get a suitcase dedicated to, I don't know, all your hobby stuff. Take it with you. I mean, it's just super, super convenient. My initial thoughts about this is that it is an absolute game-changing product. If this technology continues to develop, if they find a way, I don't know. I'm not gonna take it apart. But if they can find a way to make it even more silent, man, that's say goodbye to traditional airbrush compressors. If they can find a way to make it more silent, produce more PSI, and put a regulator on it, for example, put a regulator here, I could definitely do that. I have one ordered up. It's one of those small, it's one of these adapters, and it will have an air regulator right here. So it's basically this adapter with an air regulator on it. If they can incorporate this into the compressor, give it a little bit more PSI. For example, bump up the PSI to 40 PSI. Add the air regulator and make it even more silent. You always also got to remember, battery technology is improving. So if they can create a battery that is even longer lasting, say goodbye to traditional airbrush compressors. If they can keep improving on this technology, make it better, make it more silent, increase the PSI, battery life, all that stuff, game changing. 100% game changing. It being portable for you to take with you anywhere where you want it. You can put this in your in your pocket. You can put it in your handbag. I don't know. Think think of something. Look at the size. That is, I've got small hands, so look at the size. It's my airbrush is longer. I mean, look at that. How absolute, and at 20 psi. 20 psi. The battery will last you about an hour, give or take. I have used it for, I think, an hour and a half until it ran out. I only had it happen once so far. And I've used it for base coating. I have used it for varnishing. By the way, this airbrush performs very well with even varnish. I've used it for misting. So I've used it extensively, or I've used it long enough for the battery to run out. I didn't clock it. I didn't write it down with the start and stop time, but it definitely lasts long enough. If you have two batteries, these packs are being sold with two batteries. I know of one company in particular. I think they are Spray Gunner, spraygunner.com. I'm not 100% sure, but Spray Gunner, that's the name of the company. They are known for selling the No Name brand. That is actually their brand. No Name, that's the name of the brand. So they are known for that brand, and they are selling, I think, this specific model with two batteries. If you're airbrushing with one battery, the battery will last long enough, definitely long enough, for that other battery to charge from 0 to 100. No problem whatsoever. It just basically changes the game, because it means you can keep airbrushing continuously for hours and hours and hours without waking up anybody in the household. Which is, I guess, for a lot of people, maybe a limitation. Not everybody has like the convenience of having a really large house where their hobby room or their working space is far enough removed from the bedrooms and stuff like that. For example, we don't have a garage, so I don't have a dedicated garage space where I can just, do whatever. I am basically using a bedroom as my working space. So close to me are other bedrooms. So I could definitely understand that there are people out there who run into this issue and they need a solution for that loud traditional airbrush compressor. I have contemplated putting it outside, but then you're stuck with weather conditions. You have to build a situation where you're sure that it's a piece of technology. It's run on power, electricity. So you have to be 100% sure that it's not gonna leak. You're not gonna get moisture in there. That was just undoable for me. Or I can put it in. We have. It's not a garage outside. It's one of those houses or small rooms in the backyard where you put your bicycle and stuff like that, where the washing machine is. I've contemplated putting it there, but then I have to use a 20-meter air hose, and I didn't want to go 20 meters because 10 meters is just it. The longer the hose, the faster you're gonna run into issues. The faster you're gonna run into the problem that there's moisture building up in the hose, And when you're airbrushing it, once it finds its way to your airbrush, it's gonna spit out uh, through your airbrush, and then you're potentially gonna ruin your paint job. So the longer the hose, the faster you're gonna run into issues. So I wanted to keep it as short as possible, but still put it somewhere where it's not gonna produce a lot of loud noise. So luckily, I found a spot in the house. It's still noticeable when you're watching television downstairs. You definitely, when it kicks on, when you're having dinner or something like that, and somebody upstairs would be using the airbrush or something like that, you can definitely hear it kick on. Um, when when it's super silent inside the house, you can definitely hear it, but it's um, not waking up anybody in the evening. So luckily now I have two solutions to my airbrush compressor problem. I am super surprised. Absolutely 100% positive review on this product. Um, I did not expect to, first of all, receive it as a gift, as a compensation for my troubles, basically. As like I guess they were impressed, or I just I don't know, whatever the reason, they decided to send me one. Caught me by surprise. I'm super happy with it. Just such a game changing thing in comparison with the old one. Um, the old one is just super trash in comparison. So definitely, if you've watched my other video, I already said if you're looking for a cordless airbrush compressor, spend a little bit more money. Spend the 70 or $80 that it will cost you to get this particular model. I've looked it up. It's about 60 without the airbrush, 65 without the airbrush, and just the compressor, the hose, and the battery. I think 60, 65. For 70 and between 70 and $80, it comes with an airbrush. It comes with a cleaning kit. And what else was there? Like a needle, or like a nozzle cleaner. What else was there? I think one of these. It came with one of these. There we go. Obviously, those are kind of standard things that you get in these airbrush kits, anyways. But if you're looking for one, look for this. They sell them in three colors. I've seen them in black, obviously. Luckily they sent me a black one, but they have one in red and they have one in blue. There are, I've seen one with the black kind of lid on it. Mine is silver, which is completely fine. I think it's the exact same piece of machinery, so don't really be bothered by that. Um, but if you're looking for one, look for this model. Definitely go for two batteries. Um, I cannot stress this enough. I'm looking for a second battery. I think I found one. Um, that is definitely something that I will be, aiming for, because I just don't want to run out of power. I just want, when I'm airbrushing, I want to finish what I've started, and I don't want to be held back because my battery needs charging. So that is definitely the benefit of having a traditional airbrush compressor. They are just hooked up to the power, so they're not gonna run out. But if you don't have that option and this is your only option, this will work for you. Let me check the this is the manual. Here you can see the three different colors. Here you can actually see the let me see. Let me check. There we go. The three colors. It is the TM90 series. Why is the camera? Yeah, the TM90 series. Check for that. Like I said, it's brandless. There's no brand associated with. I don't know who produced it. I don't know what obviously it's built made in China. That's my guess. I'm not 100% sure. The manual is in English. It's very it's got all the information you need. It tells you about the recharging process. It tells you about the here we go. Let me see if I can. There we go. There we go. This is the obviously for the airbrush. Working pressure 10 to 20 psi. I would definitely say that it's closer to 20. I have not run into issues whatsoever. It gave me enough pressure to do whatever I needed to do. Charging time definitely an hour, I would say. So that is accurate, between 40 and 60 minutes. 40, 50 minutes continuously, I would say. If you're airbrushing consistently, if you're on the job, I would say 60 minutes to 90 minutes. Between 60 and 90 minutes is an accurate estimate. So if you would push down on the airbrush continuously, I would say 40 might be what you're looking at. Like I said, USB type. It's the same one as your. It's the same one that you get for a Samsung phone or something like that. But iPhone is a different one. I think it's closer to Samsung. It's provided with the kit, so don't worry about that. Other than that, it says something about how to clean the needle on the airbrush. So yeah, it comes as a complete package. Definitely, I would recommend this product. Like I said, after my ramble, I'll attach a little piece of video where you will see me paint an actual model. You will see me perform with the product itself, so you can kind of get an accurate idea of how the product performs. Full disclosure, I'm not a professional, I'm a hobbyist, so full disclosure. But for the stuff that I'm doing, game changing. So thank you for watching. I want to give a big shout out to the company that sent me this product. I'm super happy about it. Definitely thumbs up. Did not expect to receive a gift like this. So very happy about that. Thank you. This will be game changing for anybody who's got air compressor issues. Hey guys, in this portion of the video I am going to demonstrate how well this piece of machinery is going to handle detailed airbrushing. I am aiming to put down very thin lines and patterns onto this skin right here, and I just want to show you guys how well the cordless air compressor is able to do that. This piece is a test piece, or rather it was part of a model kit made by Naren. which was sent to me a long time ago. The sculpt was damaged. It was sent to me in a shoebox without any sort of protection, so the entire statue was kind of damaged beyond repair. But I kept a few pieces from it so that I can, try out my airbrushing. And that's what we're basically gonna do today. Is I'm gonna demonstrate to you guys how to do very fine detail with the airbrush compressor, with the cordless airbrush compressor. Absolutely very detailed model, as you can see. I've sprayed over it a couple of times already. I've tried out different techniques on it, but you can see that it's highly detailed. What else is there to say? I've gave it a base coat of early sand yellow by AK Interactive. Just plain old base coat, nothing nothing really special. And we are going to do skin tone layering, basically. We're gonna go for the effect that there is the skin has details underneath it, like different colorations and stuff like that. So we're gonna go for blue, red, yellows, green, a little bit of brown, and then we're gonna go back to the original base coat, and we're gonna create the impression that there's a lot of stuff underneath the skin. So that's what we're gonna try and do today. Don't know if I'm gonna succeed. I've done the technique before, but that's never a guarantee. So this is just the purpose of kind of showing you guys what the airbrush compressor is able to do with a high-end airbrush, with the air regulator on it, with the trigger control, which is absolutely key to this technique. I am going to grab some paper right here, just white paper. You can see I've used it a lot, and we're just gonna go for a relatively clean sheet of paper, which we can try our spray pattern on, because we are going to need to use the air regulator a lot. We're gonna have to play around with the with the strength, with the PSI that we're gonna spray at, and we're gonna have to control our trigger, because we don't want too much paint coming out of it at once. So we're gonna go for really thin coats of paint, really really detailed stuff. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go for, let's go for red, because red is a very difficult color, and we're gonna go for a blood red by AK Interactive, and we're gonna add 3 drops, and we are gonna mix it with dirty red, and we're gonna give it 1 drop. It's more of a purplish red, and we're gonna go for we're gonna thin it with 20 drops. So 4 drops paint, 20 drops thinner. And I'm just using a Vallejo, empty Vallejo bottle. Allows me to put in the drops more consistently. That way I can count the amount of drops that I'm adding. And then we're gonna go grab a paintbrush. This paintbrush is ruined, so put that away, and we're gonna go for a, yeah, this is fine, and that way we have a very transparent kind of color, and that is basically what you're looking for. And sometimes you'll have to add a little bit more thinner, maybe sometimes a little bit more paint, or you have to play around with the consistency. It's always kind of a gamble what's gonna work right off the bat. We're just gonna add it to our paint cup right here, and we don't have to backwash that. I might have used a little bit too much paint, but that's okay. It's just for testing purposes. It's just 4 drops of paint, so no worries. And we are gonna go try out the compressor. Turn on the compressor, and I'm gonna show you guys. There we go. So I want to adjust the airflow, and I want to adjust my trigger. Don't want to pull it back all the way. I just want really tiny amounts of paint. That's maybe a little bit too much still. Too much. That's better. That's a lot better. That's more what we're looking for. Look at that. That is what we're looking for. And sometimes you just have to keep adjusting it, because sometimes it just tends to say, hey, I'm not getting enough air. But like I said, this is the maximum amount that I can pull the trigger back. That's how much I've adjusted it, and I'm not getting a lot of airflow, so that is perfect for what we want. So we're gonna grab our model, and we're just gonna do basically that's all we're gonna do. You don't have to be super close, but don't be too far away. Sometimes you have to restart. The camera might be a little bit fuzzy right now, but I'll adjust that. And if we zoom in, you can already see that there is a little bit of red added to that sandy color. Basically, you can see that there's tones of red in there. That's what we want. That's what we're going for. And maybe in some areas we want it show up more, but for now we're just gonna go slowly. So right here I'm not seeing a whole lot, so we're gonna add a little bit more. There we go. You can see there it's really subtle, but that's kind of the purpose of this. We can always go back in later. Maybe I should give it a little bit more. So sometimes you just have to kind of play around with it a little bit. That's a little bit heavier, but that's okay. That's good. And we're just gonna, you're basically swirling around. You can do figure eights. You can just, you know, go for a random pattern. I'll just do whatever. I'll just go random. The more random, the better it is. I'm not getting enough air. All right, now so I played a little bit back and forth. Some areas is a little bit heavier than others, but it's a random pattern, and sometimes you have to adjust the trigger control. Sometimes you have to adjust the airflow a little bit, but the result is what we're going for. So it gives kind of like the illusion that there are blood vessels underneath the skin when we're all done with it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for the blue, and we're just gonna unhook the airbrush, and then we're gonna get our cleaning bucket, get some water, and where is my, we're gonna put that on, because you want to back flush. Of course you need to connect it to the airbrush for that. Clean out that color. I'm gonna clean the cup a little bit, and we're gonna blow out the rest. All right, we're gonna do a few drops of cleaner, thinner, whatever you have at hand. And there we go. Cup is clean. And now we're gonna mix our blue. Whoops. Trying to reuse this mixing cup, but sometimes you just have to grab some new supplies, but this will be good. Move this out of the way. So I am going to go for dark blue. I'm going to shake it up a little. Super transparent color, by the way. And shake this up as well. Oh, that's super transparent. There we go. I've used dark blue and French Army Grey Blue, both by AK Interactive. Just gonna mix it up real quick. And then we're gonna add our 20 drops of thinner. Now I don't think that this color is going to work well. Yeah, that might work. It's a little less on the blue side than I want. Maybe just add ultramarine. Yeah, ultramarine blue. There we go, that's blue. Now to compensate the added paint, I'm just gonna use 2 drops, 3 drops, whatever works. Now we got a super transparent color. That's good. That's good. Now we're gonna add this to our airbrush. That's a super transparent blue color. Excellent for what we wanted to do. Oh, that's super. That's super nice. Alright, we're gonna grab our model again. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. It's super subtle, a little bit too subtle to my liking, but I am seeing it with the naked eye, so I just hope that the camera is gonna pick that up. It's super fine. Look at that, how fine that is. And basically the pattern that you can do, that's basically up to you. That's whatever you prefer. You know, like I said, you can do figure eights, you can do like a more like, I don't know, whatever you feel comfortable with. I like just super random. Just completely random. That's better. Basically the trick is to not pause at any point. So you just want to keep moving. keep moving. Never spend a second in one place. So now you can see that, for example, on the bicep, you are starting to see that there's blue. Now you can see that there's blue in there. And as you're putting it on, sometimes you just have to wait for it to fully dry, for it to take effect, basically. And sometimes, like for example, on the bicep, because the red and the blue are layered over one another, you get like a color shift, and that's exactly what we want. It's actually pretty cool on that bicep, and definitely right here you can see now we have two colors working with each other. Basically here it's a little bit too heavy, so I'll have to go back in with the original skin color to tone that down. But that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to show you that I can put down consistent coats of paint and go, you know, very detailed with a cordless air compressor, which is what I wanted to show you guys. And like I said in the first portion of this video, if you can do this with it, it's an absolute game changer. We're gonna remove that color. Yep. All right, now we're gonna go for what do I want? Maybe ice yellow was a very cool color. No pun intended. Pink, I don't want to go pink yet. And maybe put a drop of Sahara yellow with that. Gonna try and use my mixing cup. I mean, I've got 900 of these, so I have enough mixing cups available. But you know, if you can reuse something, go for it. The reason why I got 900 of them is because I bought them in bulk. First of all, buying in bulk is cheaper, and when you're working on a project, when you're, you know, right now I'm just showing you guys a few little test pieces, nothing serious, right? But if you're working on a serious project, for example, you're working on something for a client, you want to be super precise, you might want to switch up the cups for each color. And sometimes you're using more paint, or you're mixing up more paint to use it at a later point during the painting process. That's right now that's not important. But if I were to kind of want to use the same exact mixture that I just used, I might want to save a little bit of paint in the cup and put it aside for later use. That saves me mixing it up again and getting the mixture wrong or whatever. So sometimes you just want to, you know, use a new cup for every color or every mixture, whatever, you know. But you know, buying in bulk, I try to get all my supplies in bulk, basically. We're gonna use some Ice Yellow by AK Interactive. I'm gonna see, and Sahara Yellow by AK Interactive. Let's add some thinner, 20 drops. You don't have to be exact. It's an estimate, basically. It's just to get like a super transparent and a good consistency, super transparent color, and the consistency needs to be right. It doesn't have to be exactly 20. It could be 22, it could be 19, it's whatever works. I'm just using 20 as a base to work off. So yellow, I kind of like that yellow. It's not too bright, and it's very close to the base color, which is nice. And I'm just gonna put some water in there so I can reuse it. All right, yellow. And it might not show up right away, but you know, every go a little bit heavy right here because I want to cover up some of that heavy red. There we go. Cover it up with a little bit of yellow. So now I'm just gonna go, and that yellow might not show up right away, but it is there. I can definitely see it with the naked eye. Especially on areas where you went a little bit heavy, it does show up. All right. And because of that yellow, it's all the other two colors are already getting a little bit buried. So you're already getting kind of like that effect that it's underneath the skin. Because the yellow is very close to the base color. So it helps to kind of bury the other colors. So let me see if if that is showing up on camera. Well, you can definitely see that some of this got buried a little bit. Let me see if the camera is picking that up. And if you can definitely see, if you turn it, you can definitely see right here that it's turning a little bit yellow. That's exactly what we're looking for. So when certain light hits it, you see a different kind of color. That's kind of like what you're trying to achieve. So it's super subtle, but it helps us to bury the other two colors a little bit. Give that illusion that it's underneath the skin. So we've used red, we've used blue, we used yellow, and now we want to go to green. I'm going for this like pastel color green, and I'm gonna add something to it. I think I'm gonna go for Australian camouflage green, and this is APC interior light green. That's definitely for World War II model painting, stuff like that. And this is also a little bit of a pastel color, silver green. Maybe that's a better choice. Let's try something. Again, the purpose of this video is to show you the performance of the airbrush. Yeah, I like that green. That's nice. So I went for, clean up that mess right here, 3 drops silver green, 1 drop APC interior mixer green. Now it's a little bit, almost looks like sewage green or something like that. It doesn't look like a camouflage green color at all. I don't know why it has the name, but that looks more like a sewer color than camouflage color. But it'll do perfect for a predator skin. Oh, that's perfect. Yep, that's better. Alright, so we're gonna start here again. That's a little bit heavy. I don't want to go overboard with the green because it's so close to what we already have. I wonder if it's even showing up. Now here I definitely want to bury something because it's a little bit too heavy. I'm gonna use the green. I should have used the yellow, but At this point, you can still kind of correct mistakes and stuff like that. So at this point, it's a little bit too close to what I already have, so I want okay, use a little bit of a darker green. So I'm taking a little bit a darker green, adding that. Just a little bit of a variety, basically. There we go. Although it's super subtle, it's still there. Alright, and now we're gonna go for a little bit of brown. I think earth yellow might be a good color because it's a little bit darker. We're gonna do that on the side and in the back so that the front is gonna stay a little bit lighter. Let me see if I have maybe a drop of a dark wash or something like that. Skin wash, nope. I want a dark brown, something. These are not all of the colors I have. I have a shit ton of colors. So we're taking earth yellow and 1 drop of very dark brown, and hopefully so we got the green out of the way. That's perfect. Oh. I want to add that to the back. So now we got, you can see a transition going on from just a tiny darker shade to a lighter shade, but I want a little bit darker even, so add 2 extra drops of very dark brown. Now it's a little bit darker. Adding a little bit of shadow. So we added a little bit of shadow to the biceps to kind of emphasize that he's got a lot of muscles. Clean out my color cup here. And now we're gonna blend it back in. We're gonna take a little bit of a darker color, but it's closer to the lighter color. This is sand brown, F9 sand brown. Just gonna blend them in a little bit better. Just the edges a little bit. So that the edges are basically blended in a little bit better. There we go. That's good in my opinion. I went a little bit heavy there. We're gonna blend it. So it's blended a little bit better. So now the differences are not as harsh anymore. You can basically fix a mistake. If you went too thick or you went too thin, you have to go back in, but if you went too thick, back in to kind of touch that up. And all right, now what we want to do is we want to get rid of this color. All right, and now we want to go back in. Spill a little bit of water here. So now you can basically see that we have all those colors, and it looks like they're all buried. We got the shadows, which are still a little bit heavy, but we're gonna touch those up. But you can now see that all those colors are basically working together, and he's a little bit darker in the back. I first want to go back in with the original color, which is early sand yellow. There we go. So now what we want to do is we're gonna take a little bit of a distance. There we go. Yeah, and you want to mist this color on. Just real gently. Not heavy at all, just here we went a little bit too heavy, so we're gonna lighten it up. Whoops, that was not intended. There we go. So now we have the colors a little bit muted, and I'm not entirely sure about this. So I'm gonna touch that up, lighten it up a little bit. Now I'm gonna clean out my cup real quick. Let's see what the battery status are. 50%, and we've been at it for an hour and 25 minutes, and it's at 50%. So let's say that, for example, it would be 40% after an hour and 25 minutes. That is very, very nice for battery life. All right. New Iraqi sand, and we want to we want to adjust our trigger a little bit. There we go, that's better. And we're just gonna put that on the high spots of his muscles, basically. And we're just looking for a real subtle layer. You definitely wanna only hit like the oops. That's a little bit too heavy. You could definitely now see that he's got all of his high spots highlighted. It's a little bit too heavy. Whoa! Right, there are a few little muscles right here that I want to define. So now you could definitely see that his biceps are a little bit highlighted. The shadows are also there, and you can still see all of the colors that we've used, but they're a lot more muted, and we can still see that his back is a little bit darker. And now we're gonna go back to alright, so after about an hour and 40 minutes the battery went empty. We're gonna put that in the charger, and because I want to finish what I started, I'm going to continue with my traditional airbrush compressor. Alright, so we got darker in the back, lighter in the front, and it's starting to look like a predator. So, the point of this section or segment was to kind of show you what the cordless airbrush compressor can do, and you can definitely see that it performed very nicely. You do have to kind of work with the airbrush. You definitely have to have some kind of experience, and you definitely have to have like an air regulator, which helps you out a lot. But overall, you could see that I was able to. Let's put the safety. Let's put this there. You could definitely see that I was able to get a really nice result on just a test piece with only the back, the darkest color, the last color that I added, done with the traditional airbrush compressor. Everything else done with the cordless airbrush compressor. So you can definitely see that you can get super nice results, and you can actually paint a statue or a model kit with it. So I hope this was helpful. You definitely got an insight on my predator painting, basically. This was just a little bit of a tutorial, but most of all, I just wanted to show you guys what the cordless airbrusher could do. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. Alright, so to finish this off, I want to do an even darker color on the back, so I got a burnt umber. Alright, 5 drops burnt umber. And then we have 1 drop NATO black, 2 drops NATO black, which is more of a gray than a black, but it's okay. I want to darken that brown. It's not that dark yet, so let's add 2 more. Still not dark enough in my opinion. my mind, memory.